Hi everyone, I'm really glad to see you here. Thanks a lot for dedicating your time in order to take part in our event. Right, so we will wait a couple of minutes more for other participants, but I will start first by explaining some of the technical things and giving just general information about the event today. So first, I will ask you to stay muted. Please do not unmute yourselves just to avoid some extra noises. And our form of communication will be a chat. You can ask the questions. From time to time, I will ask you some questions and I will invite you to participate. And so you're welcome to give your ideas and share your thoughts and give the answers and so on. Right? Okay, while we are still waiting, hello, while we're still waiting for the participants, can you please type in the chat, first of all, if you can hear and see me well. I forgot to put a plus if you can see and hear me well. Okay, great. Well, anytime if there are some technical issues, again, please let me know about that, all right? Good. Okay. Right. Perfect, thank you. And yeah, now, could you please type in the chat where you're from so that we know the geography of our participants, so to say. Kiev, right, Dnipro, Boryspil, great. Okay, good. Lviv, nice. Kharkiv. Right, okay. I have such a variety today. Great, Kiev. Yeah. Kharkiv, great. Okay. Perfect. Okay. So all the participants are from Kiev, great. Okay, so let's, right. Perfect, Sumy region, great. Lviv, Lviv is very active today. All right. Okay, so guys, let's get started. And first, let me introduce myself. I'm Olena Bochkaryova. I'm an academic director here at Great Education Center, and also I'm a teacher, and in particular, I teach groups to take IELTS exam. I've been doing that generally for 11 years, and the last 2 here at Great, and today I'm going to share with you some tips and ideas on how to make the most of your preparation, especially if we talk about self-preparation. So let's get started. Okay, yeah, good. So what's to start with? So what are we going to discuss today? So the first step, so what to start with if you are planning to take an IELTS test. Then we will talk briefly about study plans. The major part of the webinar will be dedicated to tips on how to organize your preparation for all 4 parts. That's reading, listening, speaking, and writing. Something that is important to do before the test, what to take into account while preparing, and some things to bear in mind while you're doing the test. And the last but not least is the point on the assessment criteria, because it's really important to understand how the answer in the speaking and writing section are evaluated. Okay. One thing to start with is that today we will concentrate on the academic module of IELTS test. However, if you are planning to take the general training module, you can use the tips that I'm going to share with you, and the information is basically applicable to prepare for general training module as well. Good. So you want to take an IELTS test. So what should you do? First of all, you need to check which type of exam format you're going to take. What I mean by exam format is that, you know, probably that now we have the traditional computer paper-based exam and also, paper-based exam and the computer-delivered one. And there are some things to take into account, and a bit later I will tell about what's important to think about while you prepare for either paper-based or computer-delivered format of the test. Then it's important to check the dates of the exam and register with the official test center, right? Okay, and sorry, there is a question, will we get a certificate for this webinar? To be honest, I'm not sure. Okay, no certificates. Okay, thank you. Good. Getting back to the organization moments. Yeah, so check the dates. Make sure that the dates that you have chosen are not fully booked, for example. So remember to do it in advance. And after you have registered for the tests, decide how much time you need and you have for preparation. That's a really important thing because it depends on many aspects, factors. The students very often ask, okay, how much time do I need to prepare for the IELTS test? Well, first of all, it depends on what your initial command of language is. And secondly, that's the band you aim at. Let's imagine that student has B1, strong B1, this is intermediate, pre-intermediate, and the student aims at 6.5, let's say, which is a strong B2 level. And the student has 2 months to prepare. I don't think that that's quite realistic. In this case, in order really to get this 6.5, it's better to, for a pre-intermediate student, the best thing to do would be to take a general training course to upgrade the level and only then prepare for the IELTS test. However, if the student has weak B2, well, yes, working for 2-3 months can result in getting 6.5, for example, which is quite a strong B2, right? So all these things should be taken into account concerning, how much time you need, taking into account your particular level and the band that you aim at. Right, okay. So what comes next? Then comes the study plan. So once you have decided how much time you need and have for preparation, it's important to create a study plan and follow it. So what do I mean by study plan? That's a kind of schedule which will include the aspects of preparation. For example, you can combine to practice 2 aspects at a time, let's say listening and reading, or for example, writing and reading, or listening and speaking, yeah? And what, for example, today I'm going to practice speaking part 1, and I will do true, false, not given in reading. Tomorrow I will practice listening part 1, and I will work on how to describe line graphs. Another day will be dedicated to for and against essays, and so on and so on. Yeah, if it's a bit complicated to create the study plan, we at Great Education Center have created ones. This is the part of our online platform of self-study for IELTS. A bit later, I will give more details about this. And depending on how much time, you can choose your study plan and follow it. I will just, that's okay. Just a second. Yeah, that's organization, study plan. Yeah, so here you see the example of such a study plan. If you have 1 week, if you have 1 month, or if you have 2 months, right? So what your steps will be like. Yeah, so how much time it's a good idea to allocate for reading something and getting acquainted with the tasks and so on and so on. Right. So if you register and you decide to try this online self-study program, you will get access to the study plan and choose the one that fits better for you. Okay. So you have your study plan, and okay, good. Now let's move on to the parts exactly. So I will start with reading, but generally, by the way, before we move on there, guys, can you use the chat and can you type if you have taken IELTS yourself, if you're planning to take IELTS, you have never heard about it. Okay. Perfect. Great. So at least we have one expert planning to. Great. Wow. General 8 is really, really high score. Yeah, right. Good. Yeah, planning. Nice. Okay. Planning. Any other answers? Okay, so at least we have passed. Congratulations on that. At least you know planning, right? At least you know probably the parts of the exam, at least those who have taken it. So how many parts are there? Exactly, right. Okay. Good. So could you please type, or at least the first letters, we will understand what they are. Right. R stands for reading. Great. Any other parts apart from that? Yeah. Okay. Perfect. Exactly. So these are 4 parts. That's reading, listening, speaking, and writing. In this type of test, there is no separate use of English, like in Cambridge exams, for example. There is no need for that. I will explain again later why. So let's move on to the reading section. So again, some general things to, yeah. First of all, how can you prepare better for reading? So read as much as possible. Why? Of course, to improve and develop your language skills, but also another important reason for doing that is to extend your vocabulary range. But choose the sources carefully. Remember that in the academic module, there will be texts on the academic topic. It could be history of timekeeping with chronicles. It could be agriculture, psychology, for example, the text about airspace, whatever. You are not supposed to be an expert on this. Of course, if you know something about marketing, it will be easier for you to read because you know the specialist vocabulary. But again, you're not supposed to be an expert in a particular area because what is checked is the vocabulary range, and then of course the skills, how developed they are, right? So talking about the sources, you can read, for example, some scientific articles, for example, or this could be the newspaper, some maybe blogs of experts in a particular area, right? Okay, or newspapers, yeah, I mean quality newspapers. Then it's really important to find which strategies work better for you personally, because we all have different learning preferences and styles, and you can find lots of tips and strategies. You can try them out, but finally decide what works better for you. For example, there is a common strategy concerning reading, like approach. When you first open the exam booklet, the recommendation is to read the text quickly before looking at the task. Read the text quickly. That is called skimming. And during this very fast reading, you get the main idea of the text. You have an idea of how the text is organized. You may identify the main idea of each paragraph, for example. Again, okay, here, if I need information about advantages, okay, I need paragraph 2. If I need the information about solutions, okay, I need paragraph 7, and so on. And only after that, you are recommended to look at the tasks. Okay, for example, this approach works perfectly fine for me. I spend about 2, 3, even 4 minutes because I can remember some information better. I know that some other candidates would rather first look at the task because they say, no, I'm not focused if I read the text without looking at the task, and so on. So decide what works better for you. By the way, if you have tried some preparation, can you tell me which approach works better for you? When you first read the text quickly, when you do skimming, or you need to look at the task first and then look at the test? Can you type? Okay, great. Skimming, task first, all right. Okay, I see that there are some people who would rather do tasks, like look at the tasks first. Why? Okay. What's the point of doing this? Skimming. Okay. Right. You know what to do. Good. Yeah, exactly. It makes sense, absolutely. If you read the task first, then you are focused and you understand what kind of information to look for. Right. Good. It saves time. Exactly. So anyway, try both approaches and choose the one that works better for you. That's the ideal way, probably. Great. And of course, it's really essential to do timed practice. Yeah, because you are given 60 minutes and you need to do this 3 passages. And yeah, so it's even a better idea when you do all 3 passages without breaks to recreate the real exam conditions. And remember that if you take the paper-based format of the test, then you don't have extra time to copy your answers to the answer sheet. That's why it's a really good idea to practice copying the answer sheets during this timed practice. If you take a computer-delivered test, then you don't need to copy your answers anywhere because that's basically your electronic answer sheet. And make sure the only thing you need to make sure is that you have completed all the answers, you haven't missed anything, and so on and so on. Right. Okay. Any questions as for this part? Kind of general one. Okay, seems to be no. Right. Moving on. Right. Yeah, so when you look at the tasks, it's really useful to make sure that you understand the instructions because they can be tricky. For example, we all know the such type of the task as true, false, not given. But in IELTS, we also have its variation known as like you need to sometimes to answer yes, no, and not given, not true, false, and not given. So if by mistake you are supposed to answer yes and you write true, guys, I'm sorry, that's a mistake. So that's why, or for example, you're asked to write no more than 2 words in the gaps and you write 3 words. Again, if you write black and white, sorry, that's a mistake. These are 3 words and automatically it is a mistake. Yeah, so make sure that your spelling is correct and you copy the answers as it should be done. Then, while practicing, we check your answers with the help of the answer key. That's the well-known practice. And anytime you answer the questions, I mean, you try to do the task, find the proof in the text, not just, okay, I think it is this way because, well, maybe it should be this way, or I know something. No, you need to find the proof, some synonyms or some parallel phrases that confirm that your answer is correct. By the way, another thing to bear in mind is that do not become the co-authors of the text and do not answer the questions, do not give the answers which are based on your general knowledge or something that you know. Sometimes my students laugh and say that, well, if the text doesn't say that the grass is green, well, you can, for example, you will answer not given, but not true, because it was not mentioned in the text. So we have to take only the facts from the text, not that something that we know. When you check your answers, and if you find a mistake, try to understand why there was a mistake. Again, try to find the information in the text. Again, some phrases or some synonyms to the keywords in the task. Yeah, to understand why it is this way. Okay, good. Right. Okay, so we are moving on to the listening. Guys, any questions concerning the reading section? Nothing so far. Okay. Listening. So talking about listening in IELTS, those who have taken it, can you tell me what is the tricky thing about listening in IELTS? Something that is different from, for example, Cambridge exams. If you have some ideas, can you please type them? Yeah, that's right. Thank you. Exactly. You listen only once. And well, it is not that cruel if you are well prepared, and you might be even surprised. I will say that listening is actually the easiest part. Right. Yeah, you have to listen only once. There are 4 parts. No, it's not a joke. It is really the easiest part. So you have 4 parts. Now they're called this way. And you will hear monologues and dialogues on general and academic topic. You will hear a variety of accents. And well, let's see what's important here. So as we have mentioned, you listen only once. And that's why it's really important to be focused on the question. What I mean is, try to underline the keywords, try to have a clear idea what the question asks you about. For example, you need to catch the information about the cost of the flight without cost of the flight or cost of the holiday without flights, for example. Be sure that the speaker will mention all possible types of prices with cost of holiday with flight, cost of holiday with insurance for the whole family, and so on and so on. You need to catch information only about the cost of holiday without flights, right? Then, if it's a paper-based test, it's really important to practice listening without the earphones. Why? Because the exam sessions are really big in IELTS. So there may be from 80 to 200 or 300 people in one big room. Of course, the exam conditions are perfectly organized by test centers, but still, imagine if you practice all the time with the earphones and suddenly you get in a huge room and you are doing it without earphones, there will be lots of noises, somebody will be coughing behind you, you will be stressed, you will be annoyed or irritated, and so on. So that's a completely different feeling, so to say. If it's the computer delivered test, then yes, you do this test with earphones and then you can practice. Oh, that's right. Another trick that you can do in order to challenge yourself is while preparing for listening, you can sit a bit further away from the source of the sound. For example, not just like we're sitting now in front of our laptops or other devices. Try to go to the other side of the room, for example. Again, psychological, which is more complicated because you will be sitting quite far away from the source of the sound. Of course, there will be, again, this huge speakers and so on, but anyway. Right, then it's a good idea if you do some preparation exercises, because especially in listening part 1, you will hear a dialogue on general topic. For example, it can be a conversation about booking a holiday in Austria, let's say, or the student wants to sign up for a language course, or someone wants to hire a car and is asking about some information. Especially in part 1, you will hear lots of information connected with figures, dates, names, nationalities, names of the cities, and so on. That's why try to do this preparation exercises on how to catch the figures, the dates, names. Make sure you remember how the letters are pronounced, because the speakers on the recording are likely to spell, for example, like Alice, so that's A-L-I-C-E or something. Make sure you remember that. That's an important thing. Then there are some really, I would say, special types of the tasks that also need some preparation. For example, working with the maps. The typical task for part 2, sometimes part 3. When you have a map of a place, This could be a village or a school. Some places on the map are marked with ABC, and then on the right there is a list of places, and you have to label to match the name of the place with its location on the map. So that's another type of the task, and again, it's a good idea to do this preparation activities to refresh the prepositions of places, for example, across, opposite. Yeah, so you should turn left, right, go past cinema, and so on, so on. Yeah, of course, do timed practice, and again, the same story as in the case of reading. It's a good idea if you do all 4 sections in one go, I mean, without any stops. Again, then you will be under the exam conditions and you will be more prepared for that. In the paper-based tests, you will have extra time to copy your answers to a separate answer sheet. So again, try and practice this, because I know in my group students find it really useful, because they can make a mistake while copying the answers, and it can be quite confusing, right? Because examiners do not look at the exam booklet, I mean, what you write in the tasks. What they check is the answer sheet. That's why make sure you copy everything accurately and nicely and so on. Okay, good. Right. Okay. Good. Again, the same story in listening is that make sure you understand the instructions correctly. Okay, let's try and see how you understand the instructions. Here you can see a typical task that asks us to complete the notes below. Very typical for part 1 or part 4. Write no more than 2 words and or a number for each answer. Now, I'm going to ask you some clarifying questions, like about which options of the answers are possible. And I will ask you to type yes or no. Okay. Again, remember, you can write no more than 2 words and or a number in the gap. So can I write just 1 word? Yes, exactly. Because again, sometimes students are confused when they say 2 words. Okay, can I write 2 words? Okay, good. No, why no? No more means that 2 is the maximum number of words, means yes, you can write 2 words, no problem here. Good. Can I write just number? For example, 17. 17 is 1 number, even 6 million is still 1 number. Okay, thank you. Can I write 2 words and a number? For example, 2 swimming pools. And here we have various answers. The correct answer is yes, you can. Why? Because 2 words and or a number. So 2 words and a number is possible. So 2 swimming pools is correct. Yeah, this is possible. Good. Yeah. Right. Okay, good. Something else. Yeah, again, when you check your answers, and again, if there is a mistake, do not go straight away to the tape script. I mean, the transcript of the recording. So listen again, even 2 or 3 times. Try to find the proof why this is the correct answer, why you made a mistake, and only then look at the tape script and find the exact words. Yeah, work with the transcripts, even if you all the answers are correct, but you want to analyze why. Maybe you have some doubts about, yeah, probably this is the correct answer, but I'm not sure why. Look at the script, try to find the words, try to find how the task was paraphrased, what synonyms were used, so you will become more confident. Maybe you will even learn some new words from the transcript, and or at least you will find out about how they are pronounced. This can be also useful. Good. Right, okay. Any questions concerning the listening section so far? Okay, according to your experience, which accents prevail, British or American? Well, I can't say, well, that there are some particular, like lots of British accents, and I mean, all a variety. Of course, you will not hear like very strong Scottish accent or Irish accent. No, they will all be intelligible, not so difficult for understanding, but it's a good idea to listen to American accent, for example, as well. Yeah. So mainly, as far as I remember, yeah, these are mainly British accents, right? But could be Australian as well, for example, why not? Because IELTS belongs to 3 shareholders. That's the Cambridge Assessment, British Council, and Australia IDP. So yeah, we can expect, but again, don't worry, there won't be any accents which are hard to understand, or yeah, they're all intelligible, don't worry about that. Okay, good. All right, good. Speaking, right. So speaking basically is conducted in the format of the interview. So you are one-to-one with the examiner. There is only one candidate. And it lasts normally, like ideally, it lasts 11 to 14 minutes or 15 minutes. And there are 3 sections there. First, the examiner asks you some questions on general and familiar topics. And they are mainly connected with you and your experiences. Well, normally the exam starts with the question, okay, let's talk about what you do. Do you work or are you a student? So that's why, to be on the safe side, be ready with the questions of this kind. Just plan what you can say if the examiner asks you about your work, for example. What do you do? How do you make sure that you do your responsibility as well? Or where do you see yourself in 5 years' time? Yeah, sounds like a job interview a little bit. Then there can be a set of, usually there are 2 or 3 sets of questions. For example, what's your favorite season? Or tell me about the place where you live. Is it a house or a flat? Something like that. There can be less usual questions. For example, I was asked a set of questions about the sky. Let's talk about the sky. Do you like to look at the sky? Do you prefer to look at the sky in the morning or in the evening? Do you prefer to look at clouds or stars or something? Right. Okay, it's possible. Then comes part 2, when you have 1 minute to prepare and you are expected to speak for 2 minutes on the topic. For example, tell me about an activity which is good for health. So you should say what it is, what you should know about this activity, what you should learn, how to do it, or when did you learn to do this activity, and explain why it is good for health, for example. Okay. And then comes part 3. It's called a discussion, but the examiner will not basically discuss anything with you. He or she will ask the questions and you will answer them. But the questions are of a more abstract level, so to say, and you're expected to use more complex language, grammar, and so on. Just a second, the question. Okay, color, great. Yeah, just one of our participants shares her experience that she was asked about the favorite color. Right. Yeah, exactly. Do you have your favorite number? Do you like your name? Absolutely. We should be ready for everything, definitely. Okay. Yeah, and some general advice that I can give you here. Again, first, make sure you understand the format. Make sure you understand in what ways part 1 and 2 are similar and different. For example, they are both kind of interview formats. In both parts 1 and 3, the examiner asks you the question, but there is a huge difference that in part 1, the questions are about you. So you should say about your preferences and why you like or don't like this or that. Yeah, what's your favorite color and why you like it, not about what color is favorite in your country. Part 3 is about other people. For example, are fast food restaurants popular in your country? Or how do you think the eating habits will change over the time in your country? Again, it's not a good idea to answer, for example, well, I don't know if fast food restaurants are popular in my country, but personally, I and my friends. It's not the question about you and your friends. It's about people in the country. It's a good idea to talk here about, well, different age groups or different types of towns, for example, or cities. It's more popular in a big city, while in the villages, people would rather stay or eat at home, for example. Good. In order to understand that, and in order to be familiar with generally what happens, try and find and watch the video recordings of the speaking test. You can find lots of them on YouTube, for example. Okay, part 2. Okay, yeah, there is a good question about part 2. If you're asked to talk about the past experience and you don't have one, is it better to share general attitude or future intention, or is it better to make up a story? Yeah, it's better to make up a story. Of course, don't just say some crazy things, some nonsense. Of course, don't say that you flew to the moon or something like that, of course, and that your parents are aliens or something. But yeah, you can, talking about the experience that you're planning to do, you can easily transform it in a past experience, adding some details, right? Again, no one cares whether it is true or not. The main thing is to check your grammar and vocabulary, that's it. And how well you can connect the ideas. Well, that's the point, actually. Right, then it's great if you can find and work with a study partner. This could be a teacher, or this could be just another student of a higher level or approximately the same level. Why? This person can provide you with the feedback on your speaking. First of all, feedback in terms of grammar and vocabulary, because sometimes we don't even spot the mistakes when we speak. Secondly, the person can give the feedback on the content, whether you have covered all aspects of the part or not, whether you missed something, or, for example, the study partner can say, well, you know, yeah, you covered all the aspects in part 2, but you could have given more details on this and this and this, for example. Or, you know, that was nice, but this part, unfortunately, was off topic. So you can get this feedback. And generally, you can practice talking to another person, because when we practice on our own, it's quite comfortable for us. But there will be another person sitting opposite you, and you will need to maintain the eye contact. You will need to stay, like, you know, nice and friendly. So it's a good idea to practice with a study partner. If you don't have such a possibility, at least record your answers. That's really useful. I know that it's not very pleasant to listen to your own voice, but do that because you will understand a lot of things, whether you're fluent or not. If you make pauses, the way you pronounce certain words, and so on and so on. And of course, do timed practice of part 2. I mean, those 2 minutes. And 1 minute for your preparation. Yeah, because very often students do not have a clear understanding what 2 minutes are like. And sometimes it seems to them that they have spoken for 10 minutes, but it's only 1 minute, 10 seconds. Oh my God, 50 seconds left. Or on the opposite, they talk on hours and 2 minutes are over, but they have covered only 1 or 2 parts of the task. So that's why you need to have this feeling of just 2 minutes. Yeah, now I have to stop or something. Good. Okay, then is it important to answer the question fully in detail, or you can get well, thank you, Svetlana. That's another question. Is it important to answer the question fully in detail, or you can go off topic a little bit? Still, it's better not to go off topic. You can add some details, that's fine, but make sure that you don't go off topic, and you first make sure that you cover what you were asked about, and then you can add some details if in such a way you can answer the question, so to say, fully. When the questions in part 3 especially are really complicated, because the examiner is going to use some sophisticated words to make sure whether you understand or not, be ready to ask for clarification or paraphrasing, because it's better still to ask the examiner to clarify or paraphrase the answer than to get the answer completely wrong and to answer something completely different. Don't do that. Don't be so self-confident too much. Yeah, you can say, excuse me, could you please paraphrase that question? Or what do you mean by sedentary lifestyle? Or when you say sedentary lifestyle, do you mean that the person spends his or her free time in a passive way? Yes. Or do you mean the people, the citizens only of my country? Something like that, that's fine. That's good. Okay, vocabulary in speaking, that's another important issue. Very often I can hear from my students, Lena, could you please give us a list of words, like some advanced vocabulary? I will learn them. I will impress the examiner. The examiner will understand that I have a really high level and he will give me band 8. Well, I call it a magical pill. No, this is not a really good solution. Why? Because you can learn some sophisticated language, some nice words, but you will not know how to use them appropriately. Your answer will not sound natural, or there will be your answer will lack consistency when you say sophisticated, refurbishments, and then good, nice, cool, and so on. That is why a much better strategy would be to practice speaking, and when you answer the question, you will of course notice which words or phrases you lack. For example, when you describe a place with a beautiful natural environment, you will realize that you lack such words as breathtaking view, for example, or unspoiled place or something. Look these words up in dictionaries. Make sure you understand the meaning, check the pronunciation, and learn them and make them an active part of your vocabulary. But yeah, then you will associate these words with a particular topic, for example. Yeah, or if you're talking about the family, yeah, you can learn that nuclear family or extended family, tight-knit family, we are on friendly terms, we get on well, and so on and so on, right? But again, make sure you understand them, you pronounce them correctly, and you use them appropriately, right? Because again, if the question is what's your favorite number, and you will use something sophisticated, that will be not appropriate at all. Yeah. Contractions like wanna, gonna, and so on, probably yes, because that's an exam. Again, it's important to remember that, yeah, that's not just a friendly chat with a friend. Of course, the examiner will be extremely friendly, and the examiner, because it is his or her responsibility to make you feel comfortable. But remember, this is not your friend. You are under the exam conditions. And well, if occasionally you say wanna, gonna once or twice, that's fine, but try not to overuse this. It's a good idea to avoid slang, for example, yeah, some very colloquial phrases. Yeah, that's better to be more academic. Right. Okay. Some more important things connected with the speaking. First of all, do not memorize the answer. Again, we can hear from students, especially who used to study at our schools. Lena, can you give me the list of topics? I will prepare the answers, I will remember them, and well, I will tell. Well, this is not spontaneous speaking, and what is more, the examiner will spot that easily if your answer is memorized or spontaneous. Unfortunately, it will not be beneficial. So you can get a lower band for that. So don't do that at all. Of course, you can practice, you can learn some nice phrases again, some chunks, but don't memorize the complete answer. Another tip, avoid parroting the examiner. It's when you repeat the words exactly from the question. Why? Because it doesn't sound natural. For example, what is your favorite book? Parroting sounds like this. Well, my favorite book is blah, blah, blah. Or have you ever been there? No, I have never been there. Or do you like? Yes, I like. First of all, in such a way, I don't show the range of vocabulary. I could say, well, I really enjoy doing that. Or have you ever? I can say, well, not yet, but I really hope that I will do that in the future. Or would you prefer blah, blah, blah? Well, I'd rather have this and this and this. So think about either some synonyms, or you can answer in a completely different way. I mean, saying just yes or no and explaining why we're using the synonyms. Good. Do not keep silent. This can happen in two cases. Either you lack ideas, or you cannot remember the word, or you can't think of good grammar to use here. So in such a way, use the language to buy you some thinking time. Again, you can prepare such phrases as, well, that's an interesting question, you know. I have never thought about that before, but I believe that blah, blah, blah. Or, well, you know, it has never crossed my mind, but I'll try to answer the question in such a way, or something and something. Right. Good. Or, okay, let's see, or, oh, let me think. Right. But don't keep silent. The examiner may think that you didn't understand the question at all. Then, again, as I said, it's an exam. It's not just a friendly conversation. That's why we need to answer a little bit more than the examiner asks you. So it's not appropriate to give very short answers, or to answer just yes or no, or just answer exactly giving the same length of the answer, I mean, as the question. You need to extend your answers by means of giving examples, or by means of giving the reasons. If you like shopping for clothes, explain why. If you don't like, why. You can extend your answer by comparing the past and the present. For example, do you like cooking? You can say, well, to be honest, it's not my cup of tea. However, in my teens, I used to love cooking, and I would always help my mom about the kitchen, something and something, right? So that's especially important for part 3, when you are supposed to give extended answers. And it's a good idea in part 3 if you give a couple of arguments why it is this or that way. For example, what are the reasons for air pollution to have become such a serious problem? You can say, well, there are several factors. And first of all, it's in addition to this is apart from that, yeah. So just give several arguments, and in such a way you will explore the topic, and you will provide the examiner with the material to evaluate your language. That's the main thing of giving extended answers. You need to provide the examiner with this material, because yeah, if you know, that's fine, but how to make sure that the examiner also knows that you have a high level? That's your responsibility. Staying on topic. Yeah, that's important again. Make sure you don't go off and don't give irrelevant answer. For example, if the question is, what do you like about your hometown? Do not say what you don't like. Very often students say, well, you know, or would you rather live in the city center or suburbs? Or would you prefer to live in the city center? And the students may say, well, you know, I like clean air. That's why I would rather live in the suburbs or something. But you need to say, well, no, living in the city center is not the best choice for me because something and something. Okay, good. Right. Okay. Any other questions concerning the speaking section? Is it a good idea to speak really fast? No, don't do that. I can, but 30 seconds left. No, don't speak really fast. If you realize that you have some time left in part 2, it's a good idea to give some details, some extra details, or something that, yeah, so to cover some other aspects. So, and by the way, something and something, but don't speak quickly, right? We will talk about fluency a bit later. Yeah. So writing. So in academic writing, there are 2 parts. That's a report to describe the visual or process or map, and an essay. So make sure, first of all, that you practice writing in the appropriate way. Again, that is to get back to the format, paper-based or computer-delivered. So if you're going to take the paper-based exam, make sure that you write. And if this is a computer delivered, that you type. That's important. Work on both parts. Of course, essay will give you more points, but that doesn't mean that you should neglect writing part one. Work on both parts. And when you work on the writing, whether on your own or even if it's an exam, make sure you follow this framework, this plan. Make sure you analyze the task, you understand what you're asked about or the important parts of the task. Make sure that you plan the answer, brainstorm ideas, think about the structure, lexis and grammar that you're going to use. And write your answer. And at the end of the writing task, find 2-3 minutes to proofread the answer, checking for mistakes, misprints, spelling, commas, and so on. Okay, good. Right. Okay. Yeah, for example, you can see writing part one, yeah, which shows, yeah, so if we look at this task, we will see that, yeah, so I need to describe the quantities of goods which were transported in the UK between this and this, 4 kinds of transport, yep. And so I am analyzing, okay, so the lines represent 4 kinds of transport. The horizontal axis show the timeline. So I see that the period of time is completed is 2002. I need to use the past tenses, past simple, maybe past perfect if I want to choose to say by something and something. The vertical axis shows millions of tons. So this is not percentage. I cannot use the word proportional percentage. These are millions of tons and these are goods, so it's plural. I need to say quantities, or I can say a number of goods, but no, I cannot say amount of goods because amount is used with like uncountables. This is my analysis, so to say. And then I start analyzing the trends. Road, yes, increased, almost the same, increased. I see the trend. 3 kinds of transport, and so on, so on. This is my analysis. And then the structure, and then the writing, and then proofreading. Yeah, an example of writing part 2, the essay. Okay, right. Let's do the analysis very, very briefly with you. I have 3 questions to you. So first of all, try to identify the general topic. Secondly, try to find the important parts to address. And thirdly, whether we need to express here our opinion or not. Let's start with point 1. Guys, can you read and identify the main topic of the essay? You can again type in the chat. Whether it is healthcare or space exploration. Okay. Yeah, you're welcome to type if you have the ideas. Money and banking could be, but that's too general. Can you be a little bit more specific? Because it's not about the whole banking system and not all types of money. Any other ideas? Okay, so that's mainly about yeah, cashless society, yeah, ways of payment and the replacement of paper money. Yeah, very good. Replacement of cash and with the this, so to say, virtual money. Good. Very nice, thank you. Now, the second question. So, can you identify the important parts to address, to answer here? If we talk, okay, I'll give you a hint. If we talk about the cashless society, what is important to mention in the essay? Which aspects of future cashless society? No, the essay doesn't ask us about pros and cons. No. Okay, yeah, Yulia, you're absolutely right. Here the question is about whether it will be safe and convenient. We have to cover these both aspects, because if you write only about safety, only about convenience, we have to cover both. Third question, do we need to express the opinion? How do we know? Okay. Yeah, exactly. So the question is, do you agree? Yeah. There was a question whether we need to defend only one part. Not necessarily. You can be you can completely agree, or you can completely disagree, or in this way, you will defend, so to say, only one side. However, you can choose another strategy. You can partially agree or partially disagree. Then you can, so to say, give arguments on both sides. Okay, right. No, unfortunately, Velita, we have to express the opinion. Right. Okay. What else is important? It's a good idea if you find an experienced colleague or teacher who will read and give the feedback on your writing. If you cannot do that, then my strong recommendation for you is to sign for our free trial, and you can get your writing evaluated with the help of AI. That's the free trial within a second. Yeah, if you follow the link that you can see on your screen. Yeah, so that's the official page of our self-study course. Yeah, and you can get there, and full-timed writing, so you can do the writing under the exam condition, and our program will check it straight away. Yeah, if you want your essay to be checked and by our teacher, and if you want to get the feedback, even the lesson, then you will need to buy one of the packages that includes such a possibility. But this is possible as well with our self-study program. Okay, what else is important to do with the writing? To analyze the mistakes and do correction work in terms of grammar, linkers, lexical repetition if there is any, and of course do the timed practice in the format of the test. Right. Okay, now the assessment criteria. So here, if we talk about writing, there are 4 of them. That's task response, coherence, cohesion, lexical resource, grammar range, and accuracy. So if we talk about task response, that's how well you address all parts of the task. If you write about only what you're asked to, if your ideas are fully developed, yeah, and if you write the minimum number of words. In the case of lexical resource, that's clear, that's a variety of language, how appropriately you use it, and if the style is appropriate, it should be academic again. If we talk about coherence and cohesion, that's about logical connection of your ideas, if you organize the paragraphs, and if your ideas are linked effectively and logically. And finally, that's about grammar. For a higher score, you need to use simple and complex structures, and to do it accurately, definitely. If we look at the assessment criteria for speaking, quite similar, but you can notice here pronunciation. That's how correctly you say all the words, how clear, if you can be understood well. And I'd like to say a couple of words about fluency and coherence. There was a question whether we should speak quickly. No, fluency is not about speaking quickly. It's whether you can speak at length, like you can produce long stretches without noticeable effort. If you can speak without hesitation, repetition, and self-correction. And coherence is about connecting your ideas and the logical development of your ideas. Okay, right. Then, so that's basically it from my side concerning the tips on all 4 parts. And if you need more information, you can go to our blog on grades-online.com, our online self-study program. And you can find out about some more ideas and how to avoid certain mistakes. Right, okay, so is it self-correction? Well, talking about self-correction, yeah, that's great. So basically, it is all right to correct yourself, because in such a way you will show that you know the correct answer. I mean, the correct way to use this or that structure. However, if you want to get a really high score, 7, 8, Unfortunately, you should not do that. I mean, you are expected to speak correctly straight away. Yeah, that's the truth. Yeah, at 6, well, some self-correction is accepted, but if you aim at higher scores, try to reduce that. Okay, so I have mentioned several times the online self-study course, which was developed by great experts. Yeah, this is really great product that we have developed because there you can find information, tips, exercises concerning the writing section of IELTS. I mean, both academic module. So you can find there lots of information, exercise, practice, timed practice on both writing part 1 and 2. So all types of tasks are discussed there, so you can analyze in detail how to analyze the task. You will get the checklist, study plan, and lots of other useful information in vocabulary bank. Also, you will find there more information about strategies. Why strategies are important is because it will save you time and you will do certain things in a more effective way. Right, so there are different packages depending on how much practice you will receive, whether you will receive the feedback from the teacher. You can get even a lesson, online lesson with the teacher. Again, depends on the package that you can buy. And great news for those who have survived the webinar. You can see that using the promo code webinar, you can get a 25% discount for the basic course, and this promo code is effective during 1 month from now. So I really recommend this course because you will get lots of practice on everything, and it will help you to upgrade your level apart from effective preparation for IELTS. Right, okay. Yeah, so here are our contacts. The link to the online platform, the page in Facebook where you can find lots of useful information, our email if you have some questions, concerns, doubts, so you're free to contact us to find out everything you need. Great. Okay. Right, thank you. That brings me to the end of our webinar. Guys, any other questions that you probably have? How long will it take to... okay. Yeah, Victor, that's the question. Good one. Again, that depends on your initial level and on the band that you aim at. But again, even if you have 1 week, it will be really useful. At least you can familiarize with the exam format. If you have 2-3 months, you can at least practice the most of the tasks. But if you understand that your level is not enough to get the band you aim at, and if the exam is not that urgent, so it might be a good idea first to upgrade the level of the language and then to get ready for the tests. Okay. 0 level, again, depends which band you aim at. So if it's band 3, okay, maybe 2-3 months will be enough, but 6, well, 6, it's B2 level. So first, my recommendation would be to upgrade the level. That's the first thing that you need to do, right? And only after that. Okay, good. So any other questions? All right. Well, if there are, okay, thanks a lot. Then if there are no other questions, thanks a lot for your attention, for all the questions, all your participation. Hope to see you during our next events. And well, have a lovely day and a nice weekend. Thank you and goodbye.